Hello, everyone. This is BQ, Coordination Manager from Hash, and welcome to the EastPoint podcast. We have Wooster here, right? Well, it's better for you to do your intro, right?
It's nice meeting you. My name is Wooster Han. I'm a head of communications at Hashed, and thank you for the invitation.
No worries, no worries. Today, we're going to talk a little about the actual Korea crypto Web3 digital asset landscape, plus the EastPoint, right? Since we're running the EastPoint together.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about it. Let us just jump straight into it.
Let's go.
The first question, like a lot of people are curious, myself. I guess sometimes you might be curious, is to be honest, like Korea has the deepest liquidity, like one of the deepest liquidity in terms of crypto, even in terms of stocks nowadays, right? Like 25% of the population trades digital assets. But on the other side, like the regulation side, or we're on the actual global Web3 industry side, we're kind of like a lot of people from overseas kind of underestimate the actual things that are happening in Korea. And I'm just curious, like you've run this EastPoint, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I'm quite curious on your point where you perceive that the global Web3 community underestimates Korea. Since the projects that I meet, a lot of good partners actually prioritize Korean market. One thing I'd like to put on emphasis is I think a lot of people tended to see Korean market as more of a sell market.
That's true.
Right?
I won't deny that.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about the deep liquidity. Most of it really came from, I think, the retail investors in Korea.
True.
However, I think what people missed is what's actually happening at a national strategy level by the government, and also the efforts that has been taking place by the institutions on integrating digital assets into core of their strategies. So I think from last year, when the new administration came in, that was the same year where the Trump administration came to inauguration on its second term. When the US was pushing hard on the stablecoin regulation, including Clarity Act, I think that had a huge influence to the Korean ecosystem as well. And now, I think if last year was more of an exploration phase by the institutions, learning about the market or learning about
Korea,
the technology itself, I think this year really pivots more into an actual partnerships and actual making of the businesses out of digital assets. So I think to your question, the global Web3 community doesn't really underestimate Korea, but they do have a hard down pin on working with these institutions. But at the same time, I think the institution scene in the States is more invigorated. Given the different regulation structures. But what I see is because the Digital Asset Basic Act hasn't come into place yet.
It's coming like H2 this year.
Yeah, we're expecting H2 or Q1 next year.
That's true. Yeah.
Before that kicks in, I see a lot of projects trying to build the partnerships with them before they actually kickstart their businesses on digital assets. So this is quite a fertile ground to build businesses upon.
I strongly agree on this. I'm just curious, like you said, like to now, like it was mostly like retail focused. And do you actually think like the projects viewing the Korean market is changing? And do you think that it will change like in the future? Like meaning like, let's say next year or the year after, will it be different?
Different from what? The current status?
Current status.
Do you mean like the retail structure?
Yeah, like currently, like we have the legislation coming on, and some projects are interested on the POCs, interested in interacting with institutions. But I think like the truth is like a lot of projects sees the Korean market in terms of liquidity. I think that's like the biggest part. And it may improve, it may not. I don't know. Just want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think there is a divergence when it comes to talking about the retail market and institutional development that is happening in Korea. So on the institutional development, we see a lot of securities firms or asset managers commercial banks, national banks getting involved into a market, but it has nothing to do with the retail investment. They're building an infrastructure where these digital assets can be distributed or have that integrated into their business models, including tokenized deposits for security firms, probably like pretty much on the tokenization, like RWA side. It's up to a point on how this will be permitted to the retail investors to get into a market, right? The retail liquidity that you've mentioned is probably pinning around trading like altcoins.
True.
Right?
Trading futures.
Yeah. Whether the institutional development will have a huge impact on the retail liquidity is, I think it's like different realm of discussion. So the change that we're mentioning about the Korean market is it's about the integration of the digital asset infrastructure, the decentralized manner of managing assets is now being integrated into the very core of the financial system. That includes stablecoins, tokenized assets, whereas like if you are asking if the retail liquidity will be either pumped or not, I think this is something that no one cannot guarantee.
That's true. That's
at
true.
this point.
Got it. That's an interesting view. For me, like I see the Korean market. I think it's going on the right direction. Some people say it's just liquidity market. There's no regulations. It's getting there. But I think like it's going on the right order. So I think everything starts from the retail interest first. Then you start building the infrastructure. You start building the tools. You start building support for those basically liquidity.
Yeah.
And then you get those regulations. I think that's like the most appropriate way in how industry grows.
The healthy way.
Yeah, the healthy way. Like some parts of the world, you just place institutions, regulations first. You wait for like other retail interests, actual consumers coming in. That may be a way, but I don't think that's a healthy way. It's just, I think it's more a safe way here. But coming back to EastPoint, right? We got to talk about EastPoint. So EastPoint is very highly related to the talks you've been doing about the institutions, regulations, about how the Korean landscape is changing. Before going deep into it, for people who are just listening to this for the first time, what is EastPoint in 1 or 2 sentences?
Just to put it simply, EastPoint is a platform where you can meet highly relevant institutions or the government relations or the academics who's got the voice in the industry. So the inception of EastPoint really came in where we have observed a huge vacuum and a silo between the different segments in the industry. So when an industry grows, you normally need the right pool of builders, right? And the right pool of partnerships that they can make with the incumbent businesses. And there comes the regulation side or how the government actually sees the industry. So if you've been around in crypto for at least 4 to 5 years, you've been into conferences where it's only for the builders or only for the institutions or only for the government seminars, right? And if you go to these conferences, most of the conversations that happen really seemed like an echo chamber for me. They say like, yeah, we need this, we need that. And the audience would clap and say, touche, I think so. And those conversations do not go beyond into shapeable actions.
Fair point.
You need a coordination within the different segments of the industry to move forward. And EastPoint was really designed to break that silo. And the time was right in a way where the Korean government started pushing digital assets into its agenda under a term called Digital G2. A lot of institutions actually paid attention on what's been happening and what they can do. So the design of EastPoint was really made into a form where the high-stake decision makers in the institutions or the policymakers can actually meet with the right builders in the Web3. To allow that, we've devised a private invitations-only form to really build the connections because for them, they need at least a very simple guarantee that they're meeting the right people.
Got it. Let me stop you from there. Well, I really get it. I really agree. Like for the conferences, for everywhere in the world, like you and me, Web3 people know Web3 people. No, it's just like I know everyone. Like I know a lot of people in Web3. Government people know government people, right? They know which regulators, who is doing what.
Yeah.
Institutions know institutions. They know like security firms. But as you said, they don't know each other from different groups.
Right.
There's a big gap between that.
Yeah. Not everyone.
Not everyone. And I think that's like. I think it's also the right timing for EastPoint since our industry has grown. At the past, we didn't need that intersection. Like to be honest, like we didn't have any rules, regulations. It was basically a jungle.
It was a jungle.
It was a jungle. It was like
it was a pirate era.
Yeah, it was a pirate era. For the institutions, they were like, it doesn't seem safe. We're not doing it. We're not touching anything about crypto, Web3, digital assets. On the regulation side, but now it's getting really different. I agree that we actually need those conversations happening in each places. Then, like you talked about the private invitation. So let us get a little deep into this. So it's a special conference. It's kind of different from like public conferences. How is EastPoint run? Like, what do you have inside there? Why is it private? What happens actually inside between those regulators, Web3 leaders, institutions?
Yeah, I think the gist of EastPoint is really an access to a network while knowing that you have a strategic synergies with other participants, right? I mean, I love public conferences. It's fun.
You've been to a lot.
Yeah, I've been to a lot. I've met a lot of those as well. But then you can't really tell who to meet. If you go on a stage, you don't know who's listening to you.
That's true.
So if you are to make a decision to attend a specific conference, like what do you expect? I mean, you can leverage your own personal or enterprise level network to meet someone with high potential to work with. But that's not really something that people foresee when they attend the public conferences. I think it's a completely different agenda and different priority. The idea of this point is that you come and attend, you meet someone in the conference, you share the same interest. If you talk, there is a very solid insight to share from the beginning. To do that, we devise a screening function internally between the hosts of EastPoint. So normally we would first extend an invitation on the enterprise or the institution level that we have in mind. That includes almost every major financial institutions in Korea, commercial banks, securities firms, and some of the very relevant policymakers who's making voices in digital assets right now in Korea. We also extend an invitation to other institutions with our close partners in like Southeast Asia, Japan, in the UAE, right? So what it does is they are coming to EastPoint not just to explore and see what's happening, but really to learn or to work with the relevant partners who can build better services or who can solve any problems that they have on a working level. So when we do interview with these attendees...
So you actually do interviews with every attendees?
Not every, but on the significant ones, yes.
Yes, okay.
So when we do that, we identify what pain points that they encounter while pursuing their milestones. And we also invite relevant Web3 builders, prominent founders, who we deem as has got the right solutions to work around, right? Like businesses don't really come from a thin air. You need intelligence. You need the right information where the right pinpoint is to really sell your product. And selling product is not like just like telling people to buy your product. You go there and help. You add value. If there's a value and there's a monetary reward comes with it. So it's really designed in a way that people can interact in a deeper level with the right information, with the right people. So that's where the brand of EastPoint is coming into place.
That's interesting. This year will be my, I guess, first year.
Yeah.
It's in this EastPoint. I'm looking forward to it. Well, getting a little more deeper into it, then you have these conferences, right? And normally, like every conference is similar, right? You have the stage, people speak. You have the audiences. And then outside there, you have people networking, saying hello, who are you? I'm from who? I do this, I do that. And then you kind of search for people who kind of matches your interests, see how things go. Is EastPoint like this, or how is it different?
Yeah. On that, I had a lot of agonies in my head
Okay.
while designing how EastPoint should run, right? Because it's not just in Korea, but I think in Asia, small talk is not really a culture.
Especially in Korea.
Especially in Korea.
Especially in Korea.
Yeah. You don't really talk to strangers.
You never do.
So when you open up a general conferences, like other crypto conferences in Korea, and you let these people out, say, hey, go and network.
For the Korean people.
For the Korean people,
Yep.
They will just stick around with the people that they know or they're comfortable with,
True.
and they can be very defensive in engaging a conversation with.
Maybe a little shy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that sometimes as well. When I get some aggressive encounter, not aggressive in a way, but who's just really eager to
Talk to
engage
you.
with. Yeah. And in Korean culture,
that's not like that's not basic manner.
Yeah. So what I devised is a very private roundtables with the people that shares the same interest with you. So are you talking about stablecoin distributions, or are you talking about how to tokenize certain assets? Are you talking about which jurisdictions or regulatory you would fall under to? If you are a subject matter expert in these topics, then you would have a lot of rooms to really express your opinions and share insights. But if you are a working level official from one of these institutions trying to build something, you gotta start from somewhere. I do feel like the general understanding on digital assets has grown a lot since last year. It
has.
Yeah, if you talk to these people, they know what's up. But at the same time, there is quite a common questions from these institutions that sprout out, regardless of the technical understanding of the digital assets. For example, how would you make a new business models out of it?
Difficult question.
It's a difficult question.
It is.
It goes beyond whether people talk about we can tokenize this, but they're not the ones telling you how to make money with those tokenized assets, right? And there are good players in the industry who's been building on these kind of narratives and models that can be tested or at least be shared, so they can think about what the next step is outside of an issuance on the distribution level. And it's important because there is a need for that. It's also on us as an organizer of EastPoint to match them with the right subject matter experts on these sections. So that's why we've made different roundtable models where at least 3 to 4 institutions can get into a room. Or
it's private.
It's private, so it's completely Chatham House Rules based. No recording. So you don't really have to be shy about what you say, or you don't have to worry about what you represent. You can be very candid about what you have in mind. Any doubts, any thoughts, share that. And that becomes a very important information piece to work with.
True.
With whoever that is, whether you're a project, whether you're an institution or enterprise. So this is a very key piece that actually helps EastPoint run. And also there is another angle that we've devised, which is B2B matchmaking.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, B2B matchmaking is nothing special. As a host, we connect the people who we deem who's got the right synergies. But where is the data coming from, right? And this is really on the host, because we do interviews. We do have a lot of conversations with the attendees before they attend. We spot where the pain point is, or we spot what they need. And based on this data point, we introduce the right, partners. So even for sponsorships for EastPoint, we tend to be quite selective in a way that, there is a very strong strategic synergies with the audience that we invite. And that's where the value is coming from. So B2B matchmaking and roundtables, these two programs were the most popular items. They were sold at the same time consumed at EastPoint last year.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I strongly get the needs for it, and I strongly agree for it. Like, I remember you and I ran KBW. Was it like 2022?
I think 23.
23?
Yeah, 23.
23, and then we had this, for me, I got a lot of requests from different teams, different startups, different places, who should I meet? I got tons of questions regarding. And then we were but what do you want to meet for, right?
Yeah.
And then sometimes some do have agendas prepared. Some are I don't know, just
open book.
Yeah, just open book. Just introduce me to anyone you know.
Yeah.
And then, well, I hope they had nice conversations. But to be honest, it didn't actually end up. Yeah.
Turn into the right partnerships.
Yeah, it didn't turn into any products, partnerships, POCs, or even collaborations. Right? They were just saying hi.
Yeah.
Saying what you do. And then I was I don't know. I don't see the point of introducing stuff like this when you don't know each other. You don't know what each others are interested in. You're kind of just guessing, right?
Right.
It's
assumptions.
Yeah, you're kind of guessing. You're I don't know. Maybe MetaMask is a wallet project. They will be interested in integrating wallets, right? So I'm an app. I just want to meet it, and then you kind of find out we're not into that or that. Maybe they're into another product. Maybe they're focusing on different areas.
Yeah.
But guess that's differentiation.
Yeah. I mean that's a general way of selling, right? You initiate a conversation and you find where the need is at. So that's the first point where you collect those intelligence.
That's true.
But I think for EastPoint, it really lowers that burden of acquiring the first-hand intelligence on what others need and what you can sell. But if you have the right intelligence beforehand, you would be so much more ready
True.
and get into an actual conversation on how you can help. And I think that's what sets a line between other conferences and highly curated and high intelligence conference like EastPoint.
That's true. So you kind of have all the data sets. You know which people wants what.
Yeah.
And then, it's gonna be a tough job, but figure out how each could make synergies, match them accordingly. Into roundtables you talked about, plus the B2B matchmaking for other sponsors and other participants.
Yeah.
Basically. Then just making it simple, what would you say, for EastPoint, who is it for, who is it not for?
It's weird to say who's not for, as long as you have a set agenda and priority. I think for EastPoint is something. If you have a high priority to work with these institutions in APAC, or if you need the right government relations, or if you are looking for the first-hand, insights or experience on where the current development is happening, this is probably for you. But if you are still wondering what you can do, this is still a good opportunity for you to find out what you would need. But if you're looking for just a general investment advice, that's probably the only thing that this is not for you.
That's true. EastPoint is currently basically co-hosted by Hashed, which is us. And Bloomingbit, and then the Korean Economic Daily, which is why this three. That's another question we have.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to the credibility. At Hash, because we have a lot of different regional offices, we get to leverage, we have the luxury to leverage our global network to find the right players building outside of Korea, right? If we can, we have a lot of different institutional relations outside of Korea. We have connected to a lot of cool and prominent projects. And I think for the people who hasn't been in the market would still quite struggle finding the right partners to work with. This is where the expertise and the network of Hashed comes into place. For Korea Economic Daily and Bloomingbit, so Korea Economic Daily is one of the largest financial media outlets in Korea. Bloomingbit is a digital asset and crypto subsidiary under Korea Economic Daily. And they are leveraging their legacy that they have built over decades in Korea as a credible source of information. And they are the ones, who's leveraging quite a good network of institutions that they have built over the decades. So this is a really good mix as co-hosts who can, mix and configure different expertise to really make the right programmings, the right network, the right matchmaking for both roundtable and for the B2B matchmaking.
That I truly get it, and well, guess Hashed has built a very strong presence in the Web3 space, and basically we've built the networks, we've built the relationships. Korean Economic Daily, of course, built its own network in terms of Korea, institutions, regulators, even the government. And I see where the synergy points comes in. And well, I did the question, but I also see it when sometimes I want to have a chat or meet with a specific Korean institutions that I don't have a network with, or maybe sometimes Hash wouldn't have that network. Then, in those cases, Korean Economic Daily would jump in.
Yeah.
They would do the build-up, and then we could see what could be done.
Yeah.
On the Hash side, oppositely, if they don't have those networks in terms of maybe the Web3 regulators around the globe, or the Web3 institutions around the spaces, they kind of jump in to Hash. So it's actually a way how we work. So for me, this is a question I'm kind of curious about, because I wasn't in Hash last year, and I haven't I'm not an institution, right?
I mean, I'm not an institution either.
I'm just a normie, so I wasn't. I didn't have a chance to attend EastPoint 2025.
Right.
I've seen tons of photos about it. After joining Hash, I see how things are going. But just plainly, how was it like last year? What were you seeing? How was the stuff working out? Just overall, what did you see happening?
Yeah, it was quite thrilling to watch what's happening, because that idea of connecting high-level officials, the C-suits from the institutions that are normally shy to come out to these conferences, making a very solid conversations with the guests that we invited from the Web3 side. So I haven't seen anything like that before. And it was quite good to see that picture came into a life after just planning. Right.
So you actually saw it happening.
Yeah.
How was it like I'm just curious, just frankly speaking, I've seen a lot of photos. You told me what things are happening. But for roundtables, B2B matchmaking, it's 100% private, right? We don't have videos. We don't have recordings. We don't have anything. So I'm just curious, what was the atmosphere like? What was happening there?
So these roundtables tend to be very specific in terms of what they discuss. We had a pretty good participation from the SVP levels from the commercial banks in Korea, and also on the securities firm side, and the fintechs of quite a big fintechs in Korea. the topics that were chosen for the roundtables were pretty much based on what they wanted to discuss, right? So the atmosphere was they wanted more time to discuss.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good sign.
Yeah, so like even after the roundtable session finished, they still stayed on the lounge and continued the conversations. And it was a proven model that this is probably one of the best ways to connect different participants, other than just putting them on the networking lounge and have them do whatever they want. They come with a solid agenda, right? If you are an attendee to a different conferences, normally like you would just plan like what kind of sessions that you like to see. If you have a personal connections to arrange meetings, that you would do that. But that's about it, right? But if you are coming to EastPoint, you would at least represent like what you've built or what you're building. And based on that, you would talk with highly trained experts in the field, whether from the institutions or from the Web3, to really dive into a pain point that everyone wants to solve out. And sharing those insights is just more than a networking.
It is.
Yeah, you get to connect into a level where you feel like you'd like to work with.
That's true.
Yeah.
If I were actually working for a certain product, but face challenges, had obstacles, don't know what to do next, and then sat in a round table with the people who actually know how to run stuffs. And for other parts, maybe I could give help, right? Things that I am good at. I believe it will be thrilling. You said you were thrilling, but I believe that it would be more it would have been more thrilling for the actual participants. If I was running a project, 100%. Well, we'll move on to a little more sensitive question.
Okay.
So we have Korean Blockchain Week, and I'm proud I've run the 2023 Korean Blockchain Week. You've run it for how many years is it?
Like 3-4 years.
3-4 years. I'm sure you're happy about how things are going and how it has become. But this is questions from all general audiences. Always is we have KBW. Why do we need a second conference? We've talked a lot about it, but it would just be better for you to summarize it into a few points.
Yeah. I think KBW and EastPoint serves different audience. So I think it's completely deconflicted in a way that how you like to present what you are. KBW was initiated and its inception really came from an education. And it still serves in a way to educate a lot of different people who's interested in the crypto industry in general. You'll go and find what new projects there are, what the new trend is, and those are still quite a valuable information that you could find. But at the same time, it's not, EastPoint is more pinned towards making the right connections. So while EastPoint also serves as an education platform, I think the pull that you would expect or the vibe that you would get is not something these two can be compared in a way that you can say apple or pear.
That's
right?
True.
So the reason why we thought that we need EastPoint is because our priority has shifted a lot more from the messaging to the general public on where the industry is heading. It's now more laser focused into how the development is happening within the regulation frame and where the institutions are heading. So that has been quite a trend for Hashed over the 2-3 years. We have been actively excavating and building partnerships with different institutions around the world. And EastPoint is just a phenomenon on where we are heading as Hashed, not just as a VC, but also as an ecosystem builder. to move forward, and with the right messaging channel.
Got it. So it's kind of the next step for Hash.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, now we need to move beyond basic messaging.
yeah,
That's an interesting view. And I think it kind of worked out well last year. Of course, I wasn't there, but um, from my knowledge, last year you had all the four National Assembly parties,
we had five.
five National
Yeah.
Assembly members from each parties. You had Caroline Pham from the CFTC.
Former, yeah, the
Former.
acting chair of CFTC.
And you also had the White House. My question is, maybe it's a silly question, but how do you make this happen? How did you persuade them to actually come to this kind of a new formatted event, I would say?
Yeah, I didn't need to persuade them.
That's interesting.
Well, the need was there. I mean, for the National Assembly members, they are also very keen on sharing their insights and share their voice. What was more thrilling to me is they went beyond speaking, but they also attended one of these private roundtable sessions at all.
I wish I could have seen
Yeah.
that happening.
That was pretty cool thing to see. They actually attended these private roundtable sessions and really heard the voice of the industry. And it's very meaningful in a way that you can break this silo, because they are the one at the forefront on drafting the bills and making voices to the people who matters to them.
True.
And I've always felt the need to build one of these platforms where the silos can be broken. For Caroline and for Harry, obviously they also had pretty good agenda to come and attend what's been happening in Korea, and also share what they foresee within the digital asset industries. And these insights are always very helpful as an industry participant, to see where the high level policy officials are heading in terms of in terms of their visions.
How about like I know like EastPoint, we had like tons of participants from like all the major banks,
Yeah.
all the security firms in Korea, insurance funds, asset managers. Was it also like similar? Like they had their needs. You kind of just needed to explain like what this is.
Yeah. I think the format was not so familiar on like other conferences they've been to. But when they attended, they kind of saw where this is heading. It's not just come and attending. You are actually contributing to the whole program as a participant. And that was probably one of the largest feedbacks that we've got from the audience, that they, why they liked being at EastPoint. For me, like I do have a military background, and I've been to a few diplomacy missions with the 3-star general that I was assigned as a protocol officer. When you go to these high-level conference and where all the high-level, top level officials come and attend, you don't really go there to explore. You go there with at least set 4 to 5 meetings.
With agendas.
Yeah, with a very solid agenda. And the idea of inviting the C-levels from the institutions are pretty much the same. Like, if you serve your boss, you don't really tell your boss to go to a specific conference just to listen to a session.
True. They would never go there.
They'll never go there.
They would never go
Yeah,
there.
but if you have arranged meetings with significant partners who can give you a great insights, you'll go there, right? So that's pretty much where the idea is from.
That's totally true. I'm just curious. Like since last year we had all these invitations, you had all the parties coming. What would you say would be one thing that people mistakenly thought or thought like had a different thought about EastPoint, and then after doing the EastPoint, they kind of changed their views or their thoughts regarding EastPoint?
I can't really tell because I was just inviting
You should
people.
have interviewed.
Yeah, I mean,
After the event also.
I did. I got some like the feedbacks from the people. But the reason why the expectation was already set is because they're invited to roundtables. Because they already know what's happening. They know what time they are speaking.
Do they know like who they're talking to also?
Yeah, we do share. We
Okay.
do share the list of candidates who's also attending the same roundtable session with you. They know the composition on who's attending. So people do come with expectation at EastPoint. So I think our operations team managed pretty well on communicating what they should expect before they come, and that's pretty much job well done by the team.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really looking forward to what would be happening this year.
You'll really like it.
Yeah, I actually really want to see the roundtables,
Yeah.
the B2B matchmakings happening because it's just private. I've never seen it happening. And I'm also kind of curious, since you know how Korean institutions and people are, like they don't talk much, they don't interact, they don't debate much. But at roundtables, they would.
Yeah.
And I actually want to see how it will be formed, how things are happening there. Well, that was a very nice talk regarding EastPoint. I guess I know much more about it. I guess the listener knows much more about it. Before ending the conversation, I know like I'm not an expert. I know you're not like a legal expert. But as a person who ran EastPoint, who saw these changes, who actually planned for these changes, what parts and how do you think the actual Korean institutional Web3 landscape changed for the last, I would say, 12 to 18 months?
18 months is a long way around.
Let's say 12. From last year, EastPoint to now.
12 is a pretty good time frame to see how the thing's been changing. Because last year, it was much more on the learning curve for them. Because before the current administration, they weren't, I think it was more taboo to touch on what's been happening on digital assets. And once they got more confidence on they can do something with digital assets, they started meeting people. They started engaging with different projects to run at least proof of concept. They started like more actively researching on what other institutions, in the States or other institutions been working on. Some commercial banks has been studying on how the stablecoins will be denominated into Korean won, and because Korean won is a lot different from the U.S. dollar. This is like, US dollar is relatively very stable in terms of the circulation and the velocity of the currency itself. And they just been doing a lot of case studies on other stable coins, in other nations who are not using US dollars. This year came to more on the side where they have decided a certain direction. As a phenomenon that you see a lot of securities firms, asset managers, or even the banks are buying the shares of the centralized exchanges in Korea, which has got the virtual asset license called VASIP. And they tend to be way more open and aggressive in pursuing, what they would like to achieve within the digital assets. And obviously the bill has still not been passed, so
it's not here yet.
Yeah, it's not here yet. So they're waiting, but it doesn't mean that they're not ready. So I think that's pretty much the biggest difference that I see from the last year.
I get what you're saying. Like last year, it was mostly on basically research, studying. Seeing how stuffs are going outside Korea, maybe in the US, how stuffs are going. Now this year, they're kind of seeing that we might be able to do this from next year, and then kind of starting to actually experiment with it.
Yeah,
They're not actually releasing it like publicly yet, but they're kind of experimenting it with it. seeing what is good, seeing what part actually is efficient,
Yep.
saves money for them, which parts makes money for them, which parts maybe makes them lose money. They're kind of checking on how
Yep.
stuffs are done, and then hopefully next year it will be much more aggressive.
Yeah.
We could see stuffs actually happening. But I have no idea.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do
I
you
mean,
think?
I think adoption of AI is just a really strong catalyzer on what's going to happen. Because what we see is AI agent will actually change a lot of scenes in the payment scene. So while if AI agents be able to make transactions, at least with stablecoins, that can actually create quite a good market that doesn't exist right now. Subscription-based Internet of Things, and how these institutions getting involved is a large and open question. So there are still quite a good room to explore on the next vision after issuance and in terms of distribution. And there should be like a lot of interesting ideas to come out, within the couple of years.
I hope things actually change in the direction we dream about, imagine about. For people who are listening to this, for people who are interested on EastPoint, what's the easiest way to get to know about EastPoint?
We run our X account, LinkedIn, where we share, the past experiences and the vision that we're envisioning for this year's. And I think BQ, you will also be preparing some newsletters for the subscribers for EastPoint as well.
Okay.
So that should be a good source of information. So stay tuned. So every conference that we do, our policy think tank, Hashed Open Research, writes up a report and the implication on what has happened. So even if you don't attend EastPoint, there should be a very good data point on what has been discussed. And that will be shared, the post-conference. So, also, subscribe to our account, and we'll share very good quality information with you.
True. And just to let everyone know, the application for EastPoint is also open for speakers, participants, sponsors. But it's not like we screen it, but it's open in case we kind of miss out anyone in this field or in this industry or in the institutional side. Since we don't 100% know them all, right?
Right. Yeah.
We know a lot, but it's not 100%.
Yeah.
So in case we miss anyone, it's open. We'll be screening it. We'll be seeing who's suitable. So check the application page on the website. We'll be ending our talk here. It's kind of late here, but it was great to talk to you.
Likewise. Thank you for your time.
Having you. This was Wooster, the community lead from Hash, and BQ, the coordination manager in Hash. Thank you.
Thank you so much.